All right, we got Zak Kosher sitting down in the house.
What up, what up?
Symphony Micro Podcast
Yes,
on structuring the day to reduce friction. The idea here is basically that you want to do activities that are in line with where your mind state's at and where your energy levels are at. So you just got a couple bullet points down, and we're just going to throw them in and kind of go back and forth on it in less than 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah, dude, let's do it.
Start us off, man.
Yeah, well, we're talking about creativity and structuring your day around those times of the day when you're most creative. And there actually there's technical terms and science behind this, which is that, you know, in those morning hours, your brain, the synapses in your brain are firing more on the creative side. And then later on in the day, the analytical side of your brain fires back up. So if you pay attention to that in the way that your body kind of manifests that, you can really layer your day in a way that's going to have maximum productivity. Saving those analytical menial tasks like responding to emails, calls, writing proposals, SOWs, contracts, all that plug and chug stuff, saving that for the later afternoon hours, and then in the morning reserving that time for thinking creatively about campaign ideas, in my case, you know, for social media, like you said, or whatever those creative elements in your life are. I mean, everybody's needing to think creative in some way, shape, or form, depending on their career, passion, whatever it is.
There is creativity in almost all jobs, right?
Creativity in almost all
jobs. But
jobs.
usually most jobs aren't creative the whole time.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I think, you know, what we were talking about too on the last podcast before it was deleted, or was
whoops.
is that some people I think, you know, first thing in the morning they're responding to those emails. Right. They're acting on impulse, like, oh shit, I gotta do X, Y, Z.
Straight into that reactive state.
Yeah, and think about, you know, there are tasks that operate on timelines that you need to get done at X time, but can you put your level of productivity and maximizing your productivity before that? Because at the end of the day, I think that's going to be more impactful to your career and long term than just making sure I respond to this person timely on email before it's, you know, too late in the afternoon, which is like, who's to say it's too late? You know what I mean?
Right. Productivity is like something that everyone's trying to increase, but if you do it in the wrong way without structuring it around where your mind state is at, that's for me where I'm seeing like a ton of opportunity and growth for myself. Is like, I used to wake up in the morning, get a workout, maybe go like get a big lift in the morning, and then come and eat lunch, and then I'm kind of like a little tired, and so I'm basically starting the day with zero momentum rather than what I do now is wake up, have some coffee, get a short walk in, maybe just get the blood flowing, and then go straight into the creative stuff. And it is funny how we both came to the same conclusion that getting that creative work done early and then getting the calls, meetings, stuff like that in the afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, so your brain, when you're sleeping and dreaming, right, your brain is firing on all cylinders when it comes to being creative. It's creating something that doesn't even exist and that you fully believe is the truth and what's happening to you at that moment in time, right? So there's chemical stuff involved there, but those creativity synapses are firing, so leveraging that first thing in the morning, there's still residual effect there, and that's technically why, from a chemical standpoint, you should be more creative in the morning. Most all of us should.
I've actually never thought about it that way, but I think you're absolutely right. Like, your brain's fresh, you still have that feeling of creativity in the morning.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You can kind of feel it.
You can tap into it later. And one thing, I've got a bullet point, I'm just going to jump straight to it, which is naps. This is something that people are like, it's not, I don't want to say controversial, but it's interesting because people are like, oh, if you take naps, like, that's weak. You know, if I wake up and I get after it all day, I wake up early, I stay up late, and this and that. But you're for sure losing productivity. And I take maybe once or twice a week, I'll take a nap in the afternoon, and I wake up with that creativity again at like 4 p.m. and I go right back into. I almost get 2 mornings in the same day, which is just such.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, if you look at productivity as a linear thing, like it's either I'm getting a bunch of work done or I'm not getting any work done. I mean, a lot of people look at it that way. Like, I'm productive because I just like got 17 boxes checked on my to-do list today. But in reality, it's more of like a quantity and quality situation. It's like, sure, you could fucking like steam through everything really, really poorly and do something, you know, with very little creative energy, with very little nuance and all of that. Or you could take little naps during the day and beef back up that creativity. And so when you're going through these tasks, you do such a better job at them and you feel better about what you're creating and more proud and all that kind of shit. So I don't know, there's 2 ways to look at it. It's not linear, but
Kobe, my guy Kobe said, when you're tired, rest. trying to
Listen
work
to your
when you're
body.
tired, and that's what this little micro podcast is all about, is like structuring your day to reduce friction. And if you're working when you're tired, there's no chance that you're being as effective, productive. You're going to make more mistakes. You have to make up for those mistakes later. I've learned these lessons the hard way, so hopefully whoever's listening can think about this and maybe not fall into the same pitfalls that I did.
100%, and like we were saying, listen to your body. If in the mornings you want to go and stretch your body out and do a walk, don't feel bad about that because you're not spending that time working. Do those things that you need to do to be able to continue to crush work later or whatever it is. I think that's super important.
Love it. I got another bullet point. COVID has taught a lot of people about a lot of different stuff.
Oh yeah,
we've had
huge reality check. Yeah.
Productivity has been at the top of mind for a lot of people with COVID because it's like, on one hand, if you're not commuting as much, if you're not doing as many in-person meetings, you can be quote unquote more productive. But then people also get worn out because I hear it all the time. People that work at Amazon, Microsoft, and even do their own thing, like have to be on their toes all the time because their coworkers are expecting them to be on the ball. So it's even more important now, from my perspective, to take those breaks, whether it's a nap or just playing some music or going for a walk, getting physical exercise. More so than ever, for sure. I think COVID's helped us realize that in some ways.
Yeah, it just kind of is thrown us into that situation too, where you're kind of forced to realize it. Like, all of those tasks that you just felt were part of your day, like the commute, like meaningless meetings that just lasted or hours spent for no reason, and even tasks during the day, all that just kind of went away. You had these extra hours, and then you also were cooped up in a house, right? And your life is completely changed. So there's that abrupt factor, that kind of uncomfortableness of something completely different, and it felt wrong, it felt weird. But it's kind of forced you to take more time for yourself and listen to yourself a little bit more and understand what are the things that I need to do during the day to keep myself sane and not go fucking crazy.
Speaking of which, tell the story real quick. I remember you told on the podcast, but you hit the wall hard because you were grinding way too much on work. You actually it became like an emergency almost.
I went to the hospital. So when I first started my business 2 years ago, it was about this time in 2018 that this exact thing happened. And I was subscribed to the whole Gary V, 14-hour days. You kind of put the work in, you get the reward. And I was ready to grind, man. I was like, let's do it. And I was happy to. And I did it for 3 to 4 months and launching the business. No joke, working 12 to 14-hour days. And there was a stretch of time where I never left my room for 3 to 4 days. I'd eat in my room, sleep in my room, work in my room.
Cool.
And that was it. It was just up, work, sleep, up, work, sleep. You know what I mean? Just repeat. And my heart started palpitating, and the stress manifested in a way where I literally felt like I was having it wasn't a mini panic attack, but it felt like I was having a heart attack. So I checked into the ER, took an EKG, and the doctor was like, "Hey man, what's new in your life? Anything changed?" And I was like, "Well, I have my own business now." And he's like, "That's it." It's like, "You working a lot?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Don't do that. You're gonna where you are. You're in the hospital, dude. Don't do that." So that's a small example, but it's true, man. You can't overwork yourself. You can't burn yourself out. It's gonna kick you in the long run.
And it's that energy and ambition is great to have for sure, but just harnessing it and then understanding your limits. I had the same experience in a slightly different degree. Last summer, end of last August, I was just pushing, trying to get so much work done, doing these long days, and I actually got sick with mono because I had depleted my immune system and destroyed my body so much. I was sick for a couple months actually because of that. It set me back way more. I could have just been. I remember my boss said at the time, I explained, I was like, I got overworked, and she's like, part of being a pro is knowing what your limits are and not going outside of them.
Absolutely. It's like with anything. It's like working out too hard or something. It's like, I want to lift all the weight in the gym because it's gonna make me bigger. It's like, cool. Well, eventually, when you're lifting all that weight, you're gonna pop your back, or you're gonna, bust your ankle, and then look where you're at. How much closer to your goals are you now that you have to sit out from the gym for 3 months while this heals? So it's the same kind of thing with productivity and mindset and the hustle and all that.
And it's structuring the individual day is one thing, but now that I'm realizing we're talking about structuring a longer arc of time, which is each day is just one day for sure. But if you just think about that one day, it's okay, I'll work 14 hours today, and if you do that every day, then you're going to get to a day where you can't work 14 hours and you're set back. So Another thing I always talk about is mental health and just like doing things on a daily basis to keep that mental health solid. So that's a whole other micropod, but
And feeling productive is like a key element of your mental health.
True. Feeling like you're getting stuff done, going to bed.
Yeah.
Feeling like you had a good day.
Right.
Yeah, I was just talking about that actually on a podcast yesterday.
Comes back around.
Next bullet point for me is we're doing great. 10 minutes right now. Changing your environment to change your mindset. So you're sitting, like you said, you're sitting in your room working all day. You're doing you're just sleeping, waking up, eating, everything in the same room. For me, just getting physically out of that space. Like when we finish this micropod here, there's no chance I'm gonna go straight to my computer and work. Actually, I'm going on a long 60-mile bike ride, but even if I wasn't doing that, I would go for a walk. I would get outside, maybe have probably not another cup of coffee. That's not good advice, but I would do something other than try and go straight to work. And I am sacrificing some time to do, quote unquote, sacrificing some time, but do you do that at all? Like change your environment or structure the space that you work in?
Yeah, I do for sure. The answer is yes. I mean, after that little episode that I had where I ended up in the hospital, my heart was beating. Racing, my heart was beating, thankfully always. But yeah. So after that, I felt the need to compartmentalize, right? So because I was sleeping, eating, working in my room, I was like, well, let me take work out of my room. So I got a WeWork office and I kept work there. Yeah. Didn't even bring my computer home. So when I was checked out of the WeWork for the day, I was done with work for the day. I couldn't, fire up my computer to look at, ad results at 9 o'clock and see if we were pacing correctly. It's like, no, we're just gonna leave that until tomorrow. That was the biggest example, but yeah, even still, I'm a huge,
Did that benefit you a lot?
Oh, immensely. Yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's huge. It taught me the lesson of compartmentalization, how important it is for me. I think for other people, they might be able to have it all, one space fits all, or you know what I mean. But I guess you have to be fortunate enough to be able to have the ability to have multiple spaces and not have everything shoved into one little corner. But if you can do it, I think the benefits of it are super strong. I think it's almost like a feng shui thing. There's an energy, there's a feeling, there's a vibe in every room. And if the vibe is work and not productivity, but the vibe is like tasks and doing things and getting things accomplished, and you don't ever leave that vibe, then you're always going to have that feeling of something looming over you that you need to be doing. Is kind of the way I felt. So getting out of that physical environment changed that feeling.
For sure. Yeah. Are there some days that you just say, I got to get a lot done today, I'm going to stay up late and push hard, and I'm going to work a bunch of hours, and that's okay? Yeah,
definitely. Mm-hmm. I have my office still now, and I work from home a lot more too, so I have both of those options. If I'm going to have like a day where I got to get shit done, I'm in the office, and then at home, I'm still working the full day, but those are days when I'm like kind of keeping it a little bit lighter. So yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can wrap this one up.
Yeah.
That's a good micropod. Got any more bullet points?
No, I think that's it. Yeah.
I think the idea is just with these micro podcasts, is just to give a little taste of a concept or an idea.
Yeah.
Maybe like riff on it a little bit like we just did. And if someone has never thought about this concept in a certain way that we're talking about it, maybe they can get some value.
Yeah, exactly. So just to summarize, it's in the morning is typically when I think our brains are most likely to be creative, and so using those first few hours of the day to get those tasks done that have a creative angle to them, and then saving the rest of the afternoon for the email responses and all the kind of automated, like plug and chug type tasks that don't use a lot of the left brain. So yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
Cool.
All right, Symphony Micro Podcast.
Yeah, check it out. Awesome, man. Cheers.
And that's a wrap on this week's episode of the Symphony Podcast. Look forward to next week when we drop another episode. And if you have any ideas for episodes, we'd love to hear them. And again, thanks for listening. thesymphonyco.com is where you can find the website, sign up for the email newsletter there, and subscribe to the Symphony Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. I also have another podcast called the Adventure Creator Podcast, where I host long-form conversations with people who are passionate about what they do. So we've got the Symphony Podcast, which is short form, tight, on a specific topic or around a specific concept. And I also do the Adventure Creator Podcast. So check out both of those podcasts, and they provide a good balance. And I enjoy doing both of them equally. So for now, let's wrap it up. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.